point do we want to go? This.
It doesn't matter. How many more do we have left? I know we have to talk about flat Earth. I have something pulled up I want to read. We talked
Good.
about the moon landing. We haven't quite talked about Australia not being real or the birds and 9/11. I do really want to talk about the celebrity suicides.
Okay.
Can we start with that? Because I have a thing on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the theory is that a number of celebrity suicides were actually murdered because they're being silenced. The specific ones that I found mentioned were Chester Bennington, Chris Cornell, Avicii, and Anthony Bourdain. The theory says that they were working on a documentary about child sex trafficking called The Silent Children before they died. And it was going to reveal some high profile people that committed horrible crimes against children. And since they were going to reveal these things, they were silenced and it was made to look like a suicide. Reuters did a fact check. The people working on The Silent Children denied that any of those celebrities were working on it. But
Could
then,
have lied.
yeah, like Chester Bennington.
It's a known fact that he was abused as a kid.
Chester Bennington?
Mm-hmm. It's one of the reasons he suffered from depression, and he did try to commit suicide when he was 13.
Yeah. I found an article that talked about the investigation into his death, and they immediately ruled it a suicide.
I read that. I read that they didn't even call anybody else. They were just like 11 minutes within the scene were like, it's a suicide.
Right.
And like I get it. There's obviously there you can tell there's cut and close cases, but like, and then they talked about the maid saying like her original statement, and then when she was interviewed, what she actually said, it was almost like they changed her statement or had her change her statement to fit their narrative, because she claims in her statement that everything was normal, nothing out of the ordinary, and when they interviewed her, she said that he was supposed to he told her the night before that he was getting up early. He had to leave at 4:30 in the morning, and then she came in. I think it was like 7:30 or something, and an Uber came at like 8:30, and she went up to get him, and she found him. So why was there an Uber driver there so late, supposedly for him? They also mentioned bloodstains on carpet that they said was the dog attacking their other two pets, but no one ever checked into it. Like, as a cop, if you walked in and saw blood trailed on the carpet, you call homicide. You don't just say it's a suicide. And I think she mentioned that in the interview that she saw Chester crawling through the dog door with a 7-Eleven bag, but never mentioned it in the statement, which makes me think that she changed her statement for the cops.
Yeah, I also read that. It makes me think of like the whole Jeffrey Epstein thing, who I fully believe did not kill himself. And because he was going to reveal some big names, and then after his death, like there was a document that was released that I don't remember the name of the website anymore, but you can find the document online that's got the names of these big celebrities.
I get the Jeffrey Epstein thing, but I have my doubts on it for the simple fact that, yeah, when he went to court, he would have had to reveal a lot of names. But the thing is that whether you're in county jail or actual prison in any state in the United States, the cops, the COs, they tell the other inmates what you're there for, regardless of what you did. They just tell them. Especially if you're in there for something like child pornography or something of that effect. And the cops always, and my brother was in prison and he told me this, the cops will come up to your cell and they will say, so you have a couple of options. We can put you in protective custody, but there's no guarantee that you will live because the gang members who are also there don't like living with pedophiles. Or we can put you in general population where everybody already knows what your crime is and also do not like living with pedophiles. So your other option is to kill yourself.
Wow.
So that's common for any prison or jail setting. So in my eyes, and I get the whole conspiracy thing, but in my eyes, I think he did kill himself because it was the easy way out.
The
Because
I didn't know
thing
that
with
about
that,
prison
and
jails.
that's interesting. Thing with that though is that there's a lot of missing information because there's always supposed to be 2 guards at least. And during that time, it's been proven that there was no one there. Like, there was no one watching.
that's
And the
intentional.
I think
cameras,
even the cameras were turned off. or
that is
whatever.
exactly what I was just going to say. The cameras were also turned off. Which is what's leading to the conspiracy theory that they had something to do with it.
Yeah.
And this
There's
is
all sorts of theories about who hired someone to kill him
and
too.
this is it was a high security prison. So, and it was meant to be a cushy prison since it was such a high profile person.
Hmm.
Which is why that harder.
Yeah, but again, the correctional officers, you're right. They have to have 2 on duty at all times when you're on 24-hour watch. So what they did is that one was in the bathroom, one was making rounds. The camera at that time wasn't pointed in that direction. It's all prison and officers do this because they don't want to deal with having to do the paperwork of this person beat you up because you're a pedophile. So they go in the hole and you go in the hole. 6 months later, this person beats you up because you're a pedophile. Now, it's just, it sucks, but that's the American prison system.
I mean, pedophiles deserve to die and get beat up anyway. So.
I mean, TBH, yeah, but
I mean, if all pedophiles aren't being, sodomized with a barbed wire bat, I don't know what our justice system is.
Yeah.
I love you, kids.
I have problems.
Cut to that one scene in Pulp Fiction.
No.
Jeez.
No comment.
No,
Fun
no.
facts.
Who speaks?
Never have seen Pulp Fiction all the way through.
I haven't.
Really?
Oh,
I've never.
I've seen it once.
I've never seen it at all.
Should be on the movie list.
You have to see it
But-
just
Just to see.
to help you understand memes.
But no. They need to meet Lucy. They need to meet Morgan Dean Walker's character, baby, his bat.
In Pulp
Well-
Fiction?
Walking
No,
Dead.
Walking Dead. It's
Oh.
a baseball bat wrapped in barbed wire.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. His baseball bat wrapped in barbed wire.
I actually stopped
I think her
watching
name
before.
I think her name is
his-
Lucy.
Lucille.
Before his
Lucille.
character. Came out.
I can tell you the exact episode I stopped watching. It was the season 4 mid finale when they killed Herschel, and I stopped watching.
For me, it was when they killed. I don't remember her name, but it was the blonde girl. It was after Herschel's death.
Beth? Was it Beth?
Might have been Beth. I'd know her if I saw her.
Maggie's
Was
younger
this
sister.
Before or after the prison?
No,
After.
it was after.
The mid finale of season 4 is when they were leaving the prison because the governor came in and he
Oh,
killed
yeah.
Herschel. Yeah. I stopped watching after that.
I only know
Yeah, Beth. I
Cat-
stopped watching after they killed Beth.
And then
I
I saw
stopped
them
watching.
horrifically murder Glenn, and I was pissed.
I only know bits and pieces, like the whole thing with Glenn.
It was bullshit. I was mad about it. I loved Glenn.
Pretty sure
Yeah.
the only thing that would make them matter is Daryl.
They would never kill Daryl.
There'd be riots in the streets if they killed Daryl.
Oh,
and
yeah.
that's the big meme. If Daryl dies, we riot.
Yeah, everyone will. They'd lose so much money.
Oh yeah. he's their cash cow.
Oh yeah,
But I mean, I also love the.
I love Norman Reedus. Oh my god, I loved him since the Boondock Saints.
Yep.
Same.
Yeah, he plays one of the brothers. Oh my god. We should put
Favorite.
Boondocks and All Saints Day on our movie list.
Oh yes.
Okay.
I'm still waiting for the third movie.
So,
Flat Earth?
Flat Earth. Talk about Flat Earth? What do you got?
So I was reading the one you posted, and then I found another one that's very similar, but it's reasons why the Earth is flat.
Yeah, that's what I have.
The fact
I
that
don't
they
believe
have
it.
I mean, yeah, if you believe it. So some of them are like scientists claim that the world spins at 1,600 kilometers per hour, and that they've done the math with their equations, and that at that mileage, we would literally be flying uncontrollably all over the place. Like, why is that not a thing?
Do they not
Because gravity.
understand?
Do we
I
know
was
what?
like, do they not understand how
No.
that works?
I mean, they have the
'Cause we-
gravity into their equation, and they're saying it's just not enough to keep us on the ground.
There's also centripetal force.
Yeah, they
think
talk about
they-
that. They talk all about it.
I think they underestimate how strong gravity.
I don't know. They're using equations, so I don't know. That we can see Venus and Mercury in the night sky through a telescope, and how can Earth be a globe if we can see the planets nudged between it and the sun?
Because we're rotating. We can only see them at night when we're rotating. We can see Venus during the day because Venus is on this side of us. We can see Mercury at night because actually we
Mercury's
can see them
on the
both
other
in the
side.
night. We can see them both in the night sky because they're not exactly aligned. If they were aligned, that'd be a different story. But they're not aligned. One's right here, one's right here. Because Mercury goes like this, because Mercury's the closest planet to the sun.
Yeah, they don't understand any of that. That
Really?
crossing Antarctica is a myth. That it's never happened. No one's ever done it.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have
The world is covered by an enormous icy wall. It
I
is
have
this wall that keeps
Sorry.
anyone from falling off a disc-shaped, not some invincible force called gravity.
I have had some concerns for their education.
I have just concerns for their children.
That too.
Because there's flat earth dating sites. Like, that's how divisive it is.
No.
Yeah. Have you seen the flat earth
Yeah, there
documentary on
is.
Netflix?
No.
Yeah, it's hysterical. You should watch it.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't.
What's your
I
opinion?
do not believe the Earth is flat in any aspect.
I
Neither.
cannot.
Yeah, they basically
If
say
it's flat, why haven't cats flat?
Pushed everything off of it already.
Thank you.
they also say that
your words timeless.
that we can't see the curvature of the Earth when we're looking at like horizons and stuff, because there's no
There's some-
horizons.
There's some fun videos.
You definitely can.
So there's like some dude who was like, okay, he's a flat earther, and like, if you can prove me wrong, I will pay you an extreme amount of money. And of course, somebody proved him wrong, and he still won't believe it.
Oh my god.
Yes.
I love it.
Shocking.
My brother is like way more into conspiracy theories than I am. And I asked him, I was like, are you a flat earther? He's like, I wouldn't go that far.
I wouldn't go that far.
You can enjoy conspiracy theories without
He
buying
was,
into them.
he was basically like, the reason I don't believe the earth is flat is because I've been in an airplane before.
Yeah.
Like, you can clearly see the curvature of the
Right.
earth if you're in an airplane.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah, people are nuts.
I would love to know if a flat earther's flown in a plane before, what their explanation is for that.
That's a good question.
Because-
actually.
You'd think that you'd be able to see the edge of it, or at least the wall, the ice wall.
Right.
Right? Why can't I see that ice wall?
Right. Where's your ice
I
wall?
would just love to hear their explanation for, like, because when you're flying, you're literally going like this. You're
Yeah.
not going like this. And I
Well,
would love to hear what they have to say.
So the reasoning behind that is because they go, on like you can go on websites on the internet where you can track all the airplanes that are
Yeah.
flying in the world at once.
Yeah.
Basically, they're like the routes that they're taking wouldn't make sense if the Earth was a sphere. The only way that those routes would make sense is if it was a flat Earth.
And that tells me that most of them have never.
Jesus.
How do they explain hills? Like, Jesus.
How do they explain? Well, basically, mountains and hills and stuff, they're all real, minus Australia and birds.
Minus Australia in birds. Okay, wait. Did we talk about why Australia is not real? Like, why is Australia not real? Who said this and why
So
is it a thing?
I will.
basically, oh, sorry, Timeless. Go
Oh
ahead.
no, go ahead. I have to pull up a link, so you go ahead.
Oh, so basically, what they think is that Australia is not real. It's the Truman Show. So basically, it's a giant set, and everybody there is a paid actor, and it being on fire is basically a way for everyone to pay the salary or the bonuses of what or whatever of the people that work in Australia.
That. Hey.
I've got this article from 2017 from Shelley Florid,
Okay.
who said that Australia is a hoax made for us to believe that Britain moved over their criminals to someplace. In reality, all these criminals were loaded off the ships into the waters, drowning before they could see land ever again. It's a cover-up for one of the greatest mass murders in history, made by one of the most prominent empires. And anyone who says they are from Australia is, of course, a paid actor.
Okay.
I.
So Shay, you can tell all your friends how's that Aussie money.
Here we go.
I'm
If you
kidding.
think you've ever been to Australia, you're terribly wrong. The plane pilots are all in on this, and have, in all actuality, only flown you to islands close nearby, or in some cases, parts of South America where they have cleared space and hired actors to act out as real Australians.
What?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep.
That's
Wow.
a.
Yep.
How much do they pay?
I'll
Right?
pretend to be from Australia. Pay me. Let me just work on my accent.
Oh,
I'm
that
sure they
comes in
have
the-
voice. I'm sure they have voice.
Voice trainers, yeah, they it comes in your training package. It's a 6 to 8 week training depending on your occupation.
Oh my god. It's amazing.
Applications online, please and thank you. Can you imagine like a website to sign up to be a paid actor and your job is to just live like a normal human on a
Right.
continent that's
Right.
not real?
On a fake continent. That's amazing.
What do I
Really?
do? You just
I mean,
live.
we also have people that think. People that you see in photos of terrorist attacks, school shootings are
Oh,
hired
I've heard of
actors.
that. I've heard of
Oh,
that.
I hate those ones. No, those piss me off.
Too.
How about spy camera birds?
My stepdad is a believer in this. He doesn't think all birds are fake, but he thinks that some are fake, and that
This
they
Which
are
one?
birds. Exactly.
started off as a joke by a 20-year-old college student as a joke, and some people decided
Shocking.
it was real.
Nice.
Oh, here it
shocked.
is. Here, we're gonna go back to Mr. JFK. This is where it all starts. The CIA assassinated John F. Kennedy after he refused to kill and replace billions of birds with drones. The U.S. government is sequestering a team of Boeing engineers in Area 51 for a secret military mission. Our tax dollars have been funneled into building the Turkey X500, a robot used to hunt large birds.
Oh my god.
Can I get one for Thanksgiving?
It's gonna
Like,
taste
it's
awful.
such a big
It's gonna taste
conspiracy
awful
theory.
coppery.
Yeah.
Like,
Hey, Ma, what are these wires coming out of my turkey leg?
Those are just the veins. It's fine, dear.
I told you stop questioning my cooking.
No, but my favorite thing is like, so Brian follows various farmers, and this one YouTuber we watch called Urban Rescue Ranch, refer to birds as drones just because it's so ridiculous. Like, they don't believe that the birds are drones, but it's funny, so that's what they call them. Or the spy cameras or whatever. Like, Urban Rescue Ranch put out a pigeon plushie, and he calls it the spy cameras.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
There was a conspiracy about Furbies being spies back in the day.
That
I
one,
would believe that, though.
I mean, their batteries run out and they're still making noise. Like,
I would fully believe that. Furbies are creepy as fuck.
yeah. Oh yeah, the Beanie Baby spider egg theories. That one was false.
Jesus Christ.
Wasn't there one about boba tea too?
Oh,
Was
boy.
there?
Like,
What?
the little
Tell me that.
balls in boba were like insect eggs or whatever.
No.
I have not heard that one.
Don't
Yeah.
tell me that.
Yeah, that was a thing.
I usually get the jellies instead of the bobas, so it's fine.
Well, I mean, boba is supposed to be tapioca pearl.
Yeah. I don't like tapioca.
I like strawberry poppin'.
Oh, those things are good too. I was gonna turn my ring light on for this, and I just forgot. Too late now. So have we talked about fake moon landing yet?
Yes, we have.
Yeah.
Okay.
I say we talk about the Titanic because I love this theory.
Okay.
Yes.
So the theory, there's many. Okay, first of all, there are many theories surrounding the Titanic. So some of them are that there was a secret message on the hull when it was brought in that Catholic workers reacted to. Basically, the ship's number turned into like no pope or something when you turn it upside down. This is incorrect, as there was literally no Catholic workers working on the ship, and that the number isn't even correct. Some people think it was a mummy's curse.
I think I've heard that one.
According to the legend, an ancient mummified princess left a trail of death and devastation across England in the early 1900s after being excavated and removed from Egypt. Somebody purchased it, ignoring all the warnings, and he brought it onto the ship. It's never been proven.
Obvious.
It's never been proven. Some say that the ship was attacked by a U-boat. It wasn't hit by an iceberg.
I haven't heard that one before.
Yeah, I don't believe that one either.
Never
The
heard
most
that one, but I could see that.
I do and I don't. I really don't.
I could see it. I don't necessarily. Yeah.
So here's why. A number of Titanic survivors report to have noticed an unidentified vessel approximately 5 to 6 miles away from the sinking ship, which reportedly lingered until about 2 a.m. It was speculated that the craft was possibly a submarine that had surfaced to assess the damage it had caused, after which time it sulked off. Some may have deliberately targeted the luxury liner or possibly accidentally collided with it. Another theory is that the Titanic never actually sank, that it was actually the sister ship, the Olympic. The reason for this was that the Olympic was in an accident in 1911, and it did not, It was blamed like a car. It was blamed for the accident, so it didn't get the insurance payout. So what they did was they fixed it up and they masqueraded it as the Titanic, and they wanted to sink it. They said that no one was supposed to die, that it was just unfortunate that it wasn't an iceberg that they hit, but it was another ship, I can't remember what kind of, it was like a rescue ship. It was like a smaller one, and they thought it was an iceberg, but it wasn't, which I don't believe that part at all. But they did it to collect the insurance that they missed out on the first accident. There's a lot of like evidence to this that they've like, when they went to explore it, like there wasn't enough, they didn't have the right number of pillars on it, that the letters weren't correct on the ship when they went down to explore the Titanic. That the Olympic was broken up for scrap and its woodwork was sold. But it has a certain number on it to say that it was the Olympic. I think it was 400, and the Titanic bore 401. But they've never found any wood with those numbers on it. So it was never actually broken up or scrapped. They think it was the Titanic. The other theory, the last theory is, before we talk about everything, is that J.P. Morgan was behind the whole thing. That he was a very powerful, wealthy man. And it was all about the Federal Reserve Bank. He sunk the Titanic in order to pave the way for the establishment of the Federal Reserve Bank in the U.S. The bank's creation was reportedly opposed by millionaire John Jacob Astor, mining Benjamin Guggenheim and Macy's owner Isidore Strauss, and they all died on the Titanic. Astor was last seen clinging to the side of a raft. Guggenheim, whose body was never recovered, reportedly put a rose in his buttonhole and quipped, "We've dressed up in our best and are prepared to go down like gentlemen." And Strauss died alongside his wife Ida, who refused to leave her husband's side as the ship sank. But Morgan dodged death and disaster when he canceled his trip in the 11th hour. He was reported to be on the ship, but decided to skip the maiden voyage at the last second. The Pittsburgh Post-Gazette reported that he decided to linger in Europe in order to buy tapestries for his art collection. A lot of people think that's not true because they don't think that he could have got them onto the same ship. And that's about all I got. I do want to point out that a lot of people,
how he got it to hit an iceberg.
A lot of people are confused as to why the Titanic hit an iceberg like it did. Like, they're saying, like, the people that were in the mast, why didn't you see this iceberg? There was actually a show on Netflix that talks about this, and they recreated the night with the temperatures, how cold it was, how fast it dropped, like all of like what was going on. And what they came up with was like, you know how when it's really hot and you see mirages in the desert, they have that like film over stuff, like it has that hazy, like the air moves and stuff. They does the same thing in extreme cold weather. And that's what they were able to recreate, and that's why they think they saw the iceberg so late, was because of those conditions. It masked that there was an iceberg there.
That checks out.
Don't know if it's true, but it does absolutely check out. Do I think it was Olympic?
It's what about the Olympic though?
It's convincing because there's a lot of evidence that it didn't, like, was it the Titanic had 4 pillars and the Olympic had 3, and the ship that sunk had 3 pillars.
Well, it's crazy because the one I heard was that the Olympic was actually going to be decommissioned, and instead of decommissioning it and losing out on money, they wanted to have like an accidentally on purpose, and claim all the insurance money.
Yeah.
So they disguised the Olympic as the Titanic and purposely sank it so that way they can collect all the insurance money. They didn't mean to kill all the people, but they was just kind of collateral at that point.
I like the idea, except for that they didn't mean to kill people. I absolutely think I have a high suspicion with the the big guys that were on the ship. How did they all happen to be on that ship and they all died? Like, that's super sus.
Yeah.
Very, very.
I get it. It was the maiden voyage of a really important ship. Like, yeah, totally want to make headway and be on that fucking ocean liner. But, like, it's just kind of sus to me that those 3 specific people were on that ship.
What I want to know specifically is why did they not let the people on the lower decks up?
Because they were considered low class, that it didn't matter if they lived or died because they didn't really make an impact. That was the thought
I
process
mean, I
at the
get
time.
that, but it's like in that type of a dire situation, your human instincts kind of take over, and you're just running on survival and adrenaline.
Not in 1914. No one gave a shit about people.
God damn, that's just fucked up.
Yeah.
Because can you imagine? Like, I bet you they're all still down there. Like, there's just like piles and piles of like clothes with holes in them at the bottom of that, in the lower decks of what's left of the ship. Like, that's just so.
I have
fucking
no
sad.
doubt.
That,
Yeah.
my friend, is called social Darwin. Or the fittest survival of the.
Yeah, not much is left of it now. They talked about pulling it up from the water, but it's been down there for so long, they're afraid when they pull it up, it's just going to disintegrate.
I've
Yeah.
heard this before.
Believable.
Yeah.
And there's also like a lot of the families feel like that's now a grave site. They don't want to desecrate,
Right.
basically the mass grave of all their
Mhm.
loved ones. But for a while, when I was a kid, there was a whole conspiracy about how they couldn't find the second half of the ship.
I remember that. I remember growing up and hearing about that.
They eventually found it, right?
Yeah, they did. They
Yeah.
found it. It's because that was right when we started looking for it, and we knew the general approximation of like where it was. But when it split, like I think people thought like it just went straight down, like both halves landed right next to each other. But it didn't because it's water, so like it kind of like it's water, so it didn't land right next to it like they thought, and it was further away than what they originally thought. So you're like, oh my god, where's the second half? Well, they did find it.
Yeah, I remember Googling that a while ago. Like, did they ever find the second half of the
Yeah.
Titanic?
Yeah, they did. They did. I think we should save those 2 for last. So we got Walt Disney, cryogenically frozen
I love that one.
beneath Pirate. I've never heard of this. I've heard something like it,
Really?
but I don't quite remember this one. But I believe it.
I've heard of it.
Yeah.
His daughter denies it.
Of course she does.
Of course she does.
No one wants
it
to think
is-
about the fact that their parent or their parent's head is in their family's legacy.
I do think that I could be remembering wrong, but I think I have heard that there's no actual like area underneath the Pirates of the Caribbean that could be. they
Didn't
could really
someone
go to.
get crushed in the Pirates of the Caribbean, or was it a different ride that they got crushed in?
I thought that was Space
Different
Mountain.
ride. It was a different ride.
Okay.
Don't
Disney is its own
know what ride.
episode.
Yeah.
The parks, the Pixar theory.
We could do a
Everything.
whole episode on that.
We could.
We would have
So
to be very
Oh,
careful on that.
it was the rotating
Yeah.
theater.
oh, that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'd have to be very careful about how we do that because
Wait for what?
Disney, and if we did an entire Disney episode,
Yeah, I'm not trying to fuck with Disney.
Oh,
Disney
yeah.
are real quick to fucking sue people.
Oh, yeah.
Like-
we are poor. Don't mess with us. Don't
That's-
hurt us, Disney.
that's why I was saying we would have to be very careful about how we did something like that.
Yeah.
It would have to be like, it'd be better if we did like a short like mention of Disney, but not make a whole video about Disney.
It's just a theory, a conspiracy theory.
Don't sue us, Matt Pat. So theory that Walt Disney had himself cryogenically frozen.
Wait, what do you
Underneath-
mean? What do you mean about what about pirates, Shay? Pirates were real. There are still pirates. They're just
Pirates
not.
are real shit.
They're just not the
No,
Yoho
she-
pirates that you think they are.
She meant like what? Like So isn't it under the? I thought it was under.
Allegedly, would be underneath Pirates.
Yeah.
It was under Pirates of the Caribbean. I don't know why Pirates of the Caribbean specifically.
Alleged.
Right.
You know what's that? Space. Don't they have like a Space Mountain ride there or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
do.
That
Space Mountain.
that's what it was under. I don't. I heard it was under the something mountain, not Pirates of the Caribbean.
Under the sea.
Okay. So slightly on topic, but also off topic. If we do like a paranormal type episode, we should definitely talk about Disney stuff.
Yes.
Anyway, one of the reasons for the theory of him being cryogenically frozen is because of Walt Disney's fascination with like futuristic technology and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like Epcot Center, and was just super interested.
The aforementioned rotating theater that talks about a family going through the different decades.
Yeah, and so he was super interested in just the future. So it I guess would make sense that he would want to be cryogenically frozen. But I guess when he died, they delayed telling everybody.
Mm-hmm.
They claim it was because there was secrecy surrounding his death and his burial. And so, of course, conspiracy theorists claim that it is because they wanted to give his handlers time to put his body in cryonic suspension. And that both his funeral and the actual location of his burial plot have been kept secret as a means of further concealing the truth of his interment. Interment?
Internment.
There's no N.
Oh yeah,
Interment.
Interment.
But there are two biographies of him, one by Leonard Mosley and one by Mark Elliott, and they both claim that an obsession with death led Disney to an interest in cryonics. But then his daughter says he probably didn't know anything about cryonics, and think that the theory came from some disgruntled animators seeking to have a laugh at his expense.
Well, what I heard was he is cryogenically frozen, but it was because he was diagnosed with some rare form of cancer, and he's to be woken up once we find the cure to his specific cancer.
The thing is that the most popular theory is that just head.
I feel like that one's perpetuated by Futurama.
Yeah. I've
That's
never
the
heard the just the head
prevailing.
one.
I've heard just the head one.
We can absolutely talk about Disney being haunted on the Paranormal X episode. I don't know. It's not like totally out of this world to believe that. I mean, there are literally hundreds of people that are right this moment cryogenically frozen.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not out of this world, but. And I mean, as far as his daughter denying it and having paperwork and stuff, like I feel like I wouldn't want people to know that my dad did that either, unless it like was real. I think it's just more of a thing of you don't want people to try to find him, just like we don't actually know where his plot is and stuff like that. You don't want anyone to break in. And honestly, I wouldn't want anyone to know my dad was cryogenically frozen either. Plus, it's like a hope thing. Like if I knew that and other people knew that, it just makes the hope more alive. And then God forbid it didn't work out that way. Like that would suck.
The problem with the cryogenically frozen thing is while the science is there, the ability to keep someone alive while in suspension does not seem to be sound at this point.
Not for that long of a time, no.
Well, the theory came from a frog. They froze a frog for like forget, like 10 years or something. And they brought it back to life just by de-thawing it, and the heart started beating again. So pretty much they're running on, we hope that when they thaw out, they'll start breathing.
Yeah.
There's another building off of that. There are people who have frozen but did come back to life after being thawed. Jean Hillard was frozen for 6 hours in negative 22-degree weather in 1980. And she somehow survived it when doctors brought her back.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Deep water.
instances of it. I think it's the fact of years and years and years. Like, that's a stretch. But
Yeah.
if you think about how far medical science has come, it's not that much of a stretch to think that in the future that we'll be able to do that. That people will be frozen while we
future,
work on
yes.
them. Yeah. Well, we're not bringing them back right now. We're not bringing them back right now.
Have you guys heard the conspiracy theory about 23andMe?
No.
That the government is using that to take our DNA for clones or something?
Well, it's similar to that, but less scary. So basically, what it is you do the 23andMe ancestry kit and send it off to them. Now, they have a sample of your DNA when you were 25, 26, 27 years old. They take that DNA and they store it with everybody else's DNA, and then in 25 years, see you missed when you were 27 years old, all the energy. So you can have that back by buying your sample from 23andMe.
Okay, you're gonna have to rewind.
Yeah.
You lagged out, so they have their
Sorry.
DNA and then stored with the other people's DNAs, and then what?
And then there's a commercial that will come on TV that says, "Do you want to feel like your 20-something-year-old self again? Well, buy your DNA sample from 23andMe and we'll make it happen."
Why do I have to buy back my DNA sample? Like,
Right.
what the fuck?
Well,
We have to do
because
for shipping.
it'll
Okay,
make
did
you...
I pay to give my DNA sample?
Yeah, you had to pay
Yeah.
for the whole
Okay,
box.
then why the fuck do I have to pay to get it back?
Because you gotta pay for the procedure to age you back to whatever the fuck
Oh
age
my
you were when you did
God.
23andMe.
Craziness.
And that's
Um,
why I agree with my dad on this. I don't like the idea of ever using one of those sites because I don't like the idea of someone having control of anything of mine and being able to sell it to the highest bidder. I mean, as it
Yeah.
is, my information already gets sold to the highest bidder. Why would I want that with my DNA?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
My conspiracy theory is that Boople Bunny knows too much, and that's why she lags out every so often.
No, it's just that I know too much and then I get depressed and spiral and then I'm like, I don't want to do anything. Literally, that's why I don't watch the news anymore. Like, I need friends who, and if any of our viewers are listening and follow any of the beauty guru drama that goes on YouTube, please be my friend because that is all the news I watch and I need to talk about drama with somebody.
Oh my God. Oh Lord. 9/11 being an inside job.
100% fact. Not even
I
in my eye.
absolutely believe this one. 100% believe this.
Every so often, there will be a Facebook post that goes around that talks about it. And it's like, sounds plausible, but it's gotta be fake, right?
There's just so much. I'll let people take this one. This is such
Okay,
a good
so-
one.
I'm still listening. I do have to pee, though.
Okay. So make sure let me know if everything comes out okay, Timeless.
I, in fact, also have to pee, so I will be right back as well.
All right, well then I'll save it for when you guys come back.
Okay, talk about something fun, and I'll be back.
So this one time at band camp,
No, not that kind of fun. Stop it right now.
While all of you guys are in the bathroom, I'm going to turn my camera real quick because reasons. So you guys can all just look at Usagi Yojimbo for a little bit. But no, I think a stream schedule is coming back. While we're having this little intermission, let me just hype up my socials. Arcana, you can do the same thing. One conspiracy theory that I 100% without a doubt believe, though, is that the 23andMe one. I think they're gonna try to sell our shit back to us and try to make us young again. And
Don't you know we already have a fountain of youth.
where?
St. Augustine, Florida.
Oh yeah. Okay, I see
What?
Timeless is coming back.
In Florida?
There's a
Huh?
fountain of youth, apparently.
Is there though?
Yes.
Does it make you younger and more youthful?
No idea. I've never been.
Okay, I'm back.
Welcome back. I beat you.
I went after you. Damn. All right, Boo-Boo. Continue.
Okay. So, excuse me. So, I will preface this by saying, because I know my husband can probably hear me, and he was in New York City when this happened, that this is just a theory.
A
And
conspiracy
please
theory.
do not get
Sorry, I couldn't hear
gotta
this.
get your conspiracy theories.
There she goes again. Bye, Boo-Boo.
So yeah, this is just a theory. But basically, the government did 9/11, and the reason why they did it is because it is the World Trade Center. What do people use when they're trading? Other goods, also money, also credit. And if you erase everybody's line of credit, we've all heard that no credit is better than bad credit. So that was the reasoning behind the government blowing up the Twin Towers. And even because I was in the third grade when 9/11 happened, and I was watching it on TV.
Oh my god, am I that
My
old?
main,
I was in
my-
school.
I was in school too. I was in third grade.
No, I was in sixth or seventh. I was in seventh grade, sixth grade.
You're
Oh,
31, right?
I'm 32.
32.
I just turned 32.
I was in fourth grade, so yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So my main question was, because if you throw a baseball at a Jenga tower, the tower will fall in the direction the baseball flew.
I was at work.
Why?
Fucking data.
Why did they not? They fell as if they were systematically blown, like they do when
Demolition.
you're in New York City and they demolish a building. They implode the building so it doesn't affect the neighboring buildings. Like number 1, 2, and 3, those are the main, like. And if you look at
Diamond.
the steel, I forget what they're called, the steel bars that hold up the concrete and whatever.
Rebar.
Yes, thank you. Those get cut during the explosion when you're doing demolition of a building in a certain way at a certain angle. That only happens when you demolish a building in that way. And that was how the rebar was cut when they went back to the site and were cleaning everything up. So yeah, now open for discussion.
They also talked about the metal that was used because of the original terrorist attack on the towers.
Yep, in the garage.
They used a certain kind of metal that supposedly shouldn't have been able to be melted by the jet fuel, which is what Data was just saying.
Which is
What?
bullshit, but
Supposedly it's been tested and they also could not get the metal to burn. But again, it burned for hours.
Yep.
Hours and hours and hours and hours.
it burned.
No, there's one more after this, Shay.
40. It burned 40 until the time.
Yeah.
About 2 hours later,
Mm-hmm.
give or take. So that time that tower was burning, it very well could have melted. Because the melting point of steel, no matter how high grade the steel is still lower than a fuel accelerated fire, especially as much jet fuel as there was, because those planes had just taken off. Like, they had taken off from most of them had taken off from Boston. Boston is not that far from New York. So
You can drive to Boston from New York.
Yeah.
Exactly. So they were making a cross country trip to LA. They could have that amount of fuel. They had a hell of a lot of fuel that could burn for a very, very long time. So that's where I call bullshit.
What is the link that I had for this topic? It's a BBC link. Another thing that ties into it having been done by the government is that after the towers had fallen, there was another tower that fell nearby that they're saying was caused just from the heat and everything from the second tower. And then let me see. And news broadcasters talked about it, like this third tower collapsing before it collapsed on live broadcasts.
I've heard of that. I also heard, again, guys, this is all theories.
Yes, theories.
But I also heard like there's videos of like the first and second plane coming in to hit the towers, but there was missiles shot from underneath the plane, that it wasn't actually a commercial airline that hit the towers, that they shot missiles into the building before the plane actually hit, like seconds before it hit. Going back to the fact that they think it was military involvement in it.
Yeah.
And that the government was working with Bin Laden and he was the fall guy. That he had secretly met with our government to orchestrate the whole thing.
And Shay, I get it. My husband was in the city when it happened too, so it is a heavy topic. We won't stay on it for too long, I don't think.
Yeah.
It is a heavy topic. A lot of lives were lost, and it's tragic.
And a lot of lives, more, I think, if I'm remembering the numbers correctly, more people have died from the after effects caused by the dust and the asbestos in the air after the towers fell than the amount of people that actually died that day.
Over 3,000 people died that day, and I don't even know how many have died since. My uncle was a firefighter that worked in 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
So
people were flying.
I really don't like talking about this, and they just feel really disrespectful at some point,
Yeah.
especially to the lives lost.
Yeah. I mean,
Shit, I remember watching the news with my mom that night and just watching the names go across the screen. We were looking for my uncle in that.
yeah. And my dad was he traveled for work and he was going to Saudi Arabia like 2 months after 9/11, and I was bawling my eyes out. I was begging him not to go. I was like, "Daddy, you can't you can't. Like you fucking cannot go." And thankfully my dad has a lot more melanin than I and my mom do. So he kind of blended in very well. She was like, "Honey, look at them. Look at your dad. He'll be fine." Like,
That's
yeah.
the other part of it. Is every person that talks about, oh, I want to go back to September 12th and how we were all united. It's like, you can say we were all united, but look at how the treatment of everyone that was Muslim or had an Islamic name or had any kind of name
Yep.
that was Middle Eastern sounding. No, we weren't all united. And a lot of people lost their lives from that too.
Yeah. There was in my old neighborhood in Niagara Falls, there was a corner store called Andy's, and Andy owned it, and Andy was I don't think he was Muslim. I think he converted to Christian when he moved to the US, but he was from an Islamic country, and after 9/11, the neighborhood men came to Andy's, dragged him out and beat him in the street because they thought that he was in on 9/11.
Yeah.
Did you talk about that on TikTok?
What?
Did you talk about that on TikTok at some point?
I don't think I did, but I can make a video about it if you think I should.
It sounds familiar.
Yeah,
But
I've talked about it before, yeah.
If you were of Middle Eastern descent, you were immediately and always constantly asked, why did your people do this?
Yep.
Why did your people attack the World Trade Center?
Yeah.
And it's
Like-
inspired a lot of the Islamophobia that you see today.
yeah.
It's left a very last.
And I don't think that that type of ignorance is going to go away anytime soon because A, it was a recent event, and B, those
Recent
kids,
as in 20 years ago.
yeah. But like those kids that grew up without a dad because of it, and they don't believe the conspiracy theories, they believe what the news tells them. That's a type of trauma that's passed down through generations. So, I don't think. I mean, not to go off topic, but I don't think that that's a phobia that's going to be gone anytime soon. Unfortunately.
Probably. It'll be more not subliminal.
Passive, I think.
It won't be over. It'll be covert. It won't be over.
Yeah.
But it'll still be.
All right, last topic, and this is just as controversial. COVID and population control. Not necessarily together, but we all know that is a theory, but also population control. Yay.
And can I just preface this discussion of our last topic by saying, if you or someone you know has lost somebody to COVID, this is not to disrespect them. This is not to take light of the pandemic. It's just an open discussion.
Yeah.
Yep.
We can talk about population control and then kind of go into COVID, because COVID's not a huge
Okay.
topic. So population
Yeah.
control, y'all, we overrunning the planet.
That's just facts.
Yo,
Facts.
the word in the forest is that the tree's been talking shit about the humans.
Truth. Truth.
Talking so much shit.
That should be
Saying
that
y'all
should be
stink.
not only the intro but the TikTok video. Y'all overrunning the earth and the trees be talking shit, y'all.
Somebody clip that. Shay, clip that.
Clip it, Shay, clip it.
So we all know we're using a lot of resources on our earth. We are overpopulated. Bill Gates has talked for years about depopulation and how out of control our population is. And there are a lot of theories that a lot of the things that is going on with the government and is all down to population control and trying to get our numbers down. It is also the theory on why we're trying to get to Mars so fast is because we are just overrunning Earth. And it's not going to last. Fun fact, Dan Brown also wrote about this, and it's called Inferno.
What didn't Dan Brown write about?
Dan Brown is amazing. Let's just right there. He's just amazing. The book is called Inferno. They did make a movie. Don't watch it. It's absolute fucking garbage. But the book is really good. In the book, there is a terrorist group that, not really terrorist, but terrorist group that is releasing, they keep talking about releasing this disease that will affect 1 in 4 people, and it will make them infertile. So basically, the whole book is them trying to stop them. Fun fact, in the book, it does get released. And that's kind of how it ends. They get released. They don't know what's going to happen. In the movie, they save it, and it doesn't get released. That's why it's absolute trash. But it's a huge theory that COVID was created in a lab to control our population, and it went kind of berserk. Oh my god.
Diamond, if you don't get your ass in this room.
Diamond!
Diamond, I got treats.
I muted Ark for now. But that is the theory that we're talking about. That COVID was created in a lab in China to depopulate the Earth.
So I will say, I did make a TikTok about this. And basically what it was is, the government, they do have to tell us the truth at some point. And they don't have to wait the 60 years that that's only for like classified information, but they have to tell us the truth. And they did tell us once. And they did say that COVID was made in a lab and it was accidentally released. And the guy who told the government that they accidentally released this virus the theory is that he caught COVID and mysteriously died from it, even though he worked in the lab that knew how to make it and how to unmake it. So that was the main thing that, I mean, I saw that on the news. But then I never heard anything about it ever again.
There was also a doctor that supposedly had this huge breakthrough on how to cure, treat, whatever, COVID, and magically died.
Yeah. Wasn't it like a heart attack or something?
I can't remember, honestly.
What did they say?
There was also supposedly a 600-page document saying that Fauci knew and helped release COVID. You sent it to me. Oh, thank you.
There's actually sorry. I completely forgot what it was. I got distracted. I'm sorry.
GG's.
Diamond is making me lose my focus. I said Diamond is making me lose my focus.
Diamond?
Yeah, when you were yelling for Diamond.
Oh. Little she doesn't like to come in, and then she likes to wander all around the house or around the yard at night. And then I have another one that wants to scratch at her eye, even though she knows she's not supposed to.
Oh, this is what I was gonna say. Um, one of the reasons why ex-governor of New York, Andrew Cuomo, is no longer governor is because during the pandemic, he purposely put COVID patients in
It's
nursing
just like
homes.
every time people tries to say something important, she laughs
Right?
out. Oh my
The
god.
governor, the governor purposely put people with COVID inside of nursing.
Yeah,
Okay.
and killed thousands of people. Like once the hospitals were full, Cuomo was like nursing homes and didn't quarantine them in one part, just let them be in hallways, let wherever they could find a spot, and thus created everybody in the nursing home getting sick and
Yeah.
killing everybody's grandma and grandpa for no fucking reason.
Yeah. There's also theories that like COVID's not as bad as they're saying. And don't get me wrong, COVID is bad. So I just want to say that real quick. COVID is bad. But people are saying that like the news is making it so much worse than it is. Like we hear about hospitals being overrun with COVID patients, etc. Um, and like I was talking to my sister yesterday while I was on stream. I had her muted, but she was saying that they keep saying like her hospital's overrun with COVID patients, and she's like, Ash, we have 3 COVID patients in our hospital. That's it. So what's really happening, so people don't get confused when I hear this, is that it's not that they're overrun, like there's no beds, that they're overfilling into the hallways. What it is that there's not enough nurses to staff the COVID beds. That's what's happening. And my sister confirmed this. She said that there is a ton of nurses on strike right now because they're mandating the vaccine for people in healthcare. And it's a big reason why nurses are striking right now. But that is what they mean when they say a hospital is overrun, is that they just don't have the nurses to staff those rooms.
So though we do, our hospitals are getting overrun.
Oh yeah,
And
absolutely there are.
we actually do have, like, we've had doctors come out and say, it's like, hey, yeah, our hospitals are full. No.
Yeah. But if you look at them, it generally does mean that they just don't have the room. Like they cannot take, even non-COVID patients, they cannot take heart attacks, strokes, because they cannot staff it. They cannot treat them. They're turning them away because they don't have the people. They just can't. They cannot staff their beds. And it's very sad.
Hospitals. I don't know about
It's
all of them, but there's one in particular that every day or every other day or something will post a graphic of the hospitalized COVID patients, like if they're in on ventilators, if they're just in emergency care, if they're just generically hospitalized, and it shows like how many there are that are unvaccinated and how many are vaccinated, and the number of vaccinated patients with COVID are significantly less than the ones who are unvaccinated, but
seen
still like
that one.
a pretty big number of just COVID patients.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen those numbers. I know what you're talking about. But yeah, I agree with Data. It should be mandated for healthcare. If you're working in healthcare, you should be vaccinated.
Yeah, healthcare, education.
There's
Like if
absolutely
you're
no,
working with vulnerable populations, you should get the vaccine.
well, for any vaccine, there's absolutely no room for people who are anti-vaxxers in Medicare or here in the medical field, in the education field, because you're working with people who could be vulnerable.
so an example of that is so my hubby works for CPS and has to do like home visits and shit. And he was mandated to get the vaccine. Did not agree with it, did not want to get it, didn't trust it, but got the vaccine. So I don't give anybody an excuse on like anti-vaxxers and shit. Like, do you know, like, not to go back to the Scientology topic, but Scientology doesn't believe in modern medicine. So John Travolta's son, Jet, who had a simple epileptic episode that could have been either prevented or stopped, but because he didn't believe in medicine, Jet died at 15 years old because he had a seizure.
Wow.
So if you're an anti-vaxxer, fuck you.
And the thing is, like, I'm not mandated to get the vaccine. They haven't said that we're mandated to get the vaccines here yet. I got the vaccine. I've had the vaccine I've been fully vaccinated since April. I got the vaccine because my parents are 55. Actually, 57. My parents are 57 going on 58. So they're in that vulnerable population. I don't want to bring something home to my parents that's going to kill them. Despite the fact that I don't get along with my parents a good amount of the time, I still love them and I want them to stay alive as possible.
Now, here's the thing
And
before we get into this, because I'm going to comment because what people just said about fucking anti-vaxxers, we're not arguing here. We are simply talking. We are not going to hate on other people. There are reasons not to get vaccinated. I am not an anti-vaxxer, first off. But I understand the fear. It's hard to know that fear when you haven't experienced it yourself. But there are people, and I personally know people whose kids were hurt by vaccines. And I'm not saying autism, they got autism. I'm saying they were physically hurt. I know clients that I have as a life insurance agent that got polio from the polio vaccine. It is literally a thing. There are courts that are there for people who are injured by vaccines. So you can't say that people don't have a reason not to get vaccinated. It is a serious fear. Should they let that fear rule them? No, of course not. They should look at the facts. There's more good in them than bad. And that's what people have to realize. Killian was unvaccinated until he was 2. Well, almost 3. He was 3 when he started getting his vaccines. Not because I was afraid that vaccines were going to hurt him. To a point, yes, but we chose to delay his vaccines because it's safer for a kid to have delayed vaccines. That's also why he shouldn't be getting 6 vaccines at a time. It took me a whole day of calling doctors to find him a doctor, which was his original doctor. He just moved really far away, to choose a schedule that I agreed with. So he gets 2 shots every month because every other doctor wanted to give him 6 to 8 shots a month. Are you kidding me? Even my doctor was like, that's way too fucking much. So, like, there are reasons. So don't hate on people. There are legit reasons. I won't get the flu vaccine. Killian will not get the flu vaccine. My mother is a nurse, won't get the flu vaccine. My nurse, when I was, when I had my C-section, my nurse, we had a whole conversation. She's not anti-vax. She has every other vaccination, not her boosters, which 90% of adults do not have their vaccine boosters that they need every 10 years. Just remember that. She will not get the flu vaccine. Her choice is, as a hospital worker, you get the flu vaccine. If you don't, you have to wear a mask every single shift the entire time until flu season is over. It's not mandated. Other vaccines are mandated, of course, because they do save kids. I'm just putting out other reasons for you guys. But there are reasons. I can't get vaccinated. Okay, to be honest, I wouldn't get vaccinated anyway. I do not have the COVID vaccine. Mostly because my doctor will not let me get the COVID vaccine because my allergies are fucking ridiculous. Legit reasons.
yeah, you
But
have a medical reason.
right, but I'm
Not
saying there are still
that.
other reasons that you have to take into account for other people. People have seen people get hurt by them. I know it's a fear thing. Yes, you should get vaccinated. I especially think you should be vaccinated if you are in the high population to get it, or you have pre-existing conditions. I'm talking to pre-existing conditions. There are reasons. Of course, you don't want to spread it to your parents. You want to have an easy. If you do get it, you want it to be. Easy is not the word I'm looking for. What is the fucking word I'm looking for? Mild. You want them to be mild.
Milder.
You don't want to. It helps keep you off a ventilator.
And
Yeah,
I
Shay,
didn't mean
same. My kid's only getting the vaccines he needs for school.
And I didn't mean like fuck you to like everybody who doesn't take vaccines. Like that's not what I meant. I meant like to the people who think that vaccines cause autism and like dumb shit like that. Like
Yeah, the reason that the whole autism thing came up is because kids generally start exhibiting autism symptoms.
About 3 years old.
2 to 3 years old, which is when they get those specific vaccines that they're worried about. So that's why they thought it was the vaccine, and that's why people would argue it. Yes, it's genetic.
There was also a research paper that
Yeah.
some fake doctor put out,
Yeah.
and a bunch of people took it as fact.
And like most kids like my age.
Champions like Jenny McCarthy.
Yeah. And like kids that were are my age right now don't have all of the shots. I think that's what also scares parents. There's so many you get now. I have my papers from my vaccines when I was a kid. I had 6. That's it, 6. I didn't have the chickenpox vaccine because I got chickenpox, but now I have a chance to get shingles. Of course, there's always that, downside.
Until like last year that there was a chickenpox vaccine.
Yeah, there's a ton now, and I think that's what also really scares parents. And like, not saying that none of you don't understand, because obviously you guys talk about it. You guys work with kids. Beautiful researches a lot, and I have a kid. To think that when you were a kid, you get 6 shots, and then now there's 20, 30 shots they have to get, that's scary to think about. That's terrifying when you do your research and you hear everything that's in there. But yeah, that's why, herd immunity. Get chickenpox vax so you can not have chickenpox, but get chickenpox before you can get the vax. Yeah, it sucks.
The other problem, though, is that people who say they don't know what's the different vaccines, it's like, yeah, I understand that. But you don't know what's in half of what you eat.
That is also very true.
Someone could give you the genetic makeup of an apple, and you look at that and it's like, I won't ever put that vaccine in my body. It's like, well, guess what, dumb shit? That's an apple. That is literally a genetic makeup of an apple. You eat apple. Like, if a doctor is telling you to get a vaccine, it's generally for a good reason.
Generally, yes.
I mean, it's also why polio doesn't exist as much as it used to. It's been basically eradicated because of the vaccine. Mumps and measles has basically been eradicated. Yes, there are still cases of it, but it's very, very rare.
You remember the show Arthur?
Mm-hmm.
There was like an episode where his sister had the mumps or something, and I just thinking as an adult, like, I thought the mumps would be a much bigger issue, but no, I never had it. No one I knew had it. That too.
I think, yeah.
I thought I didn't get a lot more quicksand.
I think, and a big argument I hear a lot is like with chickenpox. Oh, I had it as a kid. It's not a big deal. It's not that. Yeah, chickenpox, whatever. But the problem is now that the problem is that, yeah, I've had chickenpox. I got over it. No problem. It used to be a thing. Your kid had chickenpox. You brought the neighbor kids over so they could get it, and they got over it. But now we're at a way higher risk to get shingles.
And my stepmom had shingles, and it sucked.
Shit's no joke.
I've had friends that are, like, they got it when they were, like, mid-20s. They had shingles already.
Mm-hmm. It's not like it has a trigger. It's like literally anything can trigger you to get their shingles to come out, like stress, anything.
Yeah. It's like, to be honest, I don't know if I had the vaccine or if I had the chicken.
How old are you?
I'm 29. I legit don't know if I had either.
It's hard because I'm 32 and the vaccine was not around yet. It wasn't available for us as kids.
I have no freaking clue if I had the chickenpox. I don't remember.
I know I had the chickenpox. I have photographic evidence.
I had the chickenpox as a baby.
I don't photographic evidence of that, so I don't know if I did, or if I had seen, or what I had.
What year were you born, Ark?
92.
You probably had it. The vaccine came available in 1995. You probably had the vax.
Probably, but I think I've asked my parents before, and I don't remember if I got a clear answer or not.
Oh, okay.
No,
I have all my paperwork. It tells me all the shots I had and what time I had them.
I'm sure I have that paperwork somewhere too. I haven't seen it in years though, so.
Yeah, the only shot that I ever got a booster for was Tdap because they gave it to me.
For when you had Killian.
Yeah, but I didn't sign for it. They literally just stuck it in my arm and said, "Here's what we gave you," and then made me sign a paper that said I consented. I was like, "I'm sorry, what?" That nurse got fired.
That's wrong.
Yeah. The nurse got fired.
No, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, I got the Tdap because I wanted to be able to see my niece. I got the flu and the Tdap.
Yeah, I won't get the flu vaccine. Shit makes me sick as fuck.
Well, I've never gotten sick from the flu vaccine, but I also really wanted to be able to see my niece when she was born last year. So I had to get at least
Did they ask you to get the flu vaccine when you saw your
yes.
niece? Yikes.
Before I saw my. Keep in mind that she was also the first grandchild, and she's my brother and sister-in-law's first child. So they were very, very scared, and especially since we were still at the height of COVID in November. So of course they were take every precaution you can, get the flu vaccine or get the flu shot, get the Tdap shot. I mean, Tdap's
Jesus.
kind of a
Yeah.
Tdap's kind of a given since it's baby. But I have also had my December.
Yeah, I've never gotten a single booster besides that one. Obviously, if I traveled to a country where I need to, obviously I would. But like, obviously, I'm not doing that. So.
Well, I mean, I haven't seen. I mean, I don't have to get it for another 10 if I do.
Yeah.
But
Sorry, I was distracted by pictures of shingles because I've like
Oh my god.
these like dry patches of skin on my face, like come
hey!
and go, and I'm just like,
Oh,
That's it.
Don't freak
What do you
out.
know,
It's,
dry
it's
patches
probably
of skin.
eczema. Calm down.
what do you know? Dry patches of skin. Check.
no, I
mean,
think
kissing.
I don't think it's.
got just mine at the height of when I was. Bad.
So my issue with the flu vaccine is one I always get sick. They don't say you're getting sick, it's your immune system response, but literally it keeps me in bed for 10 days. I had it once when I was a kid, and that was it for me. I never got it again. Now my friends, no, the vaccine, not the flu. I've never had the flu. My friend's daughter, she was a preemie, so this is a big cause for this. And I'm not saying, obviously, like, this does not happen a lot. This is a very rare thing that happens, but it's something that scares people a lot. She got the flu vaccine, ended up on a ventilator for months. She had such a severe reaction to the flu vaccine. The hospital denied it. They told her it was not the flu vaccine, even though her mother herself gets a reaction to the flu vaccine that she doesn't get it anymore. Denied that it was a flu vaccine, and now they're in court with it.
Wow.
Because they lied to her face.
I've never had a severe reaction to the flu shot. I didn't even have a severe reaction to either COVID, even though it knocked you on for like days at a time. The biggest reaction I had, my arm was sore for a couple of. That's the only reaction I had to the COVID shot both times.
Yeah, and it affects everyone differently. Some people got sore arms and were fine. Some people felt like they had like the flu. Same thing with the flu shot. You felt sick for a couple days and was fine. And it was worse after the second shot. And like some people had reactions. It's like any other vaccine. You still have the same. Could be really bad. Could be okay. Could just have, shitty feeling for a couple days. Yeah, I think Data was fine.
So how do you guys think that COVID, the dispersal, affected population control?
Well, here's the thing, and this is going to be a huge controversy. I know people are going to get mad at me. When the vaccine first came out, cool, more people should have had it. And don't get me wrong, I already said I wouldn't get it anyway, even if I could get it, which I can't. But it was okay. So the first wave of COVID, when we had the original variant, it was protecting people. People weren't getting it as much. It wasn't being transmitted as much. Now with the new Delta one, because it mutated, the vaccine, yes, keeps yourself safe. It can keep you from getting a more severe instance of COVID. But they're finding that it's the same amount of viral load in unvaccinated and vaccinated. Sure, you're going to be safer because you're probably not going to be on a ventilator, but vaccinated people are still passing COVID.
I recently read. You're right. Vaccinated people are still passing COVID. I did recently find an article on IFL Science, and it was talking about like, do vaccinated people spread COVID the same amount as the unvaccinated people? And the answer overall was no. Like, yeah, we can still pass it. but we're still less likely to. I do feel like that less likely number is shrinking, I guess. Like at the beginning when before COVID completely mutated, like no vaccine is 100%. That's
Right.
just facts about vaccines. So, a vaccinated person would have maybe like a 90% chance of not getting
Exactly, Shay.
it and not spreading it.
That's exactly right,
But
though.
as COVID mutates, like our chances of getting it are increasing and our chances of spreading it
Right.
are increasing. It might not be as bad for us,
Right.
but like it can I feel like with the Delta variant, we're more likely to spread it because of the Delta variant because
Right.
not enough people got vaccinated,
And it
which allowed
mutated.
COVID to mutate.
And here's the thing with that, what I was getting at is that the problem is that not everybody, but a lot of ill-informed vaccinated persons think that I am vaccinated and I can be in a group full of people not masked still. And the problem is that's still hurting everybody. So again, I'm going to say this. I don't really care if you can get vaxxed, should you? Yes. Don't be afraid of it. If you feel like you really cannot make yourself get vaxxed, follow your fucking precautions and wear a goddamn mask. It is absolutely ridiculous that people who are not vaxxed refuse to wear masks. You don't want to get vaxxed? Fine. It's your body. You're more likely to die. Yes. Wear your fucking mask. That shit pisses me off.
You're vaxxed.
Is
Even if
how
you're
do you
vaxxed,
spot
wear your fucking mask.
Yeah, even if
How
you're
do you
vaxxed, wear your
spot
fucking
it?
mask.
Yeah. How do you spot an anti-vaxxer? They're not wearing a mask.
Yeah,
A vaccinated
literally
person will be wearing a mask.
I literally wear a 95 mask. Like, I will not go anywhere without a mask on.
I love your 4-year-old Shay.
I have the super cool dragon mask.
I yell at people in the grocery store who don't have a mask, and I say it very loudly, put your fucking mask on over your goddamn nose. Like, seriously.
We were in
Oh, no,
Costco the other day, and at the beginning of Costco, there were these ladies that weren't wearing a mask, and I really wanted to say something like
Do it.
loudly. I'm like, "Oh man, look at these idiots not wearing a mask," and then I didn't because I'm a non-confrontational person.
It wasn't last year, babe. It was the beginning of this year.
Oh, my husband hates it. Like, even on the fucking trail today, we went for a walk, and on the trail, cyclists have to let people who are walking know that they're coming up behind you, whether it's a bell or saying, "Hey, I'm behind you." So
Yeah.
these people come up behind us fast as shit, don't say a fucking word. So I say loud as fuck, "You know there's a fucking sign that says you have to let us know you're coming?"
Yeah.
And my husband's like, "Fucking chill." I'm like, "No, I don't give a fuck. They heard me."
Wait, Shay, your dad can't wear his mask. Why does he have a hard time breathing in it?
That's my mom's excuse for not wanting to wear one.
I have a hard time believing this. I have severe asthma, and I have wore K95 masks and higher with no problem. He has okay. That's fair, but he probably shouldn't be walking much in general then. But like if he's okay, so here's the thing. If you still should wear a mask, it doesn't matter if he has a medical exemption. There's not many that you can actually say for not wearing a mask. But if he's like in a store and he has to pull it down, as long as he's away from people, I can understand. But if you're standing in a group of a bunch of people and you pull your fucking mask down, I'm gonna be mad no matter what. Yeah, I believe it. I believe your dad probably does that. But
So,
like, go
I
to
mean,
a little area that doesn't have a lot of people. Like, if I'm in a store, like we were just in Once Upon a Child, there was like nobody in the store. We were in a corner by ourselves. I pulled my mask down. Ooh. But no one was fucking there.
Like, no one's there.
Yeah.
It drives me absolutely fucking off the wall. No matter which grade I'm working in, the kids are just like, nose, or down here. Put your fucking mask where it's supposed to be. What
And
I've
it's
taken to
so
saying
hard
is-
with kids, especially younger kids, because they don't understand.
When I've started saying, it's like, if I can see your nose, you're in the wrong.
Yeah.
And I do take my mask down so they can hear me. But it's so they can hear me. And I'm also generally more than 6 feet away from them when I'm talking to them. Because I do take my mask down to talk to them. because they don't seem to hear me. My mask is on.
Kids are just
Also, that's
assholes
the-
sometimes. So I talked about this on
They
stream
are.
last night, but my sister had called me during stream. And we were talking about the nurses thing, and she told me that my nephew's party was supposed to be today, and I ended up deciding not to go. First of all, Data was supposed to be here. He's high risk, and I'm high risk, so I was like, okay, if we're not going to go, whatever. But she ended up having to cancel it because my nephew, my oldest nephew, was exposed to COVID, supposedly. So my sister had to stay home off work with him because of this. Oddly enough, her fiance did not have to stay home from his job when he was exposed. Whatever. But so she talked to the school, and they said he has to be home for 10 days unless he gets a negative COVID test. And the wait was like 4 hours long, and they wouldn't let her leave. So she's like, whatever, he'll just stay home. And then she asked, okay, well, what about my youngest nephew, Angelo? They literally, the boys wrestle with each other all the time. They're in each other's faces. They eat off the same plate. They drink from the same cup. And they're like, oh, no, he's fine. He wasn't exposed. She's like, but if he was exposed, then he, but if, okay. But then she asked my nephew, my oldest nephew, she's like, okay, did other kids get pulled out of your class? He said, yeah, but they were mostly siblings. And she said, well, why? She's like, because if they're siblings, they were exposed. She's like, but I just asked them if, if Joey was exposed as Angelo, and they said no. The way that schools are handling getting COVID and kids having COVID is fucking stupid. They're dumb. I said what I said. Don't care.
I can at least say this much for my school. If one sibling is pulled out for COVID, the other sibling's pulled out for the same amount of time.
Exactly, as it should be.
And I'm just like, at least they're doing this much. I had, in the first grade class that I was in from first day of school, August 10th, to this last Friday, I had like 3 or 4 different kids pulled out of my class due to COVID.
Yep.
And all of the siblings and their siblings were taken out too.
Good shit, I'm
So
glad.
it's just like, I'm really glad to hear that, Shay.
Yeah, it's crazy how. And speaking of anti-maskers, my sister is. Me and my sister have issues because of COVID. She was very upset with me that I wasn't coming to the party because of what I said. My sister is in the medical field. She works in the OR. She's a surge tech. She will not get vaccinated, which is fine. It's her choice. But she also does not wear a mask where she doesn't have to. You fucking cunt. Put your mask on. And she gets mad at me that I don't want to be near her. Like, I understand you don't want to get vaxxed. That's fine. I'm understanding of this for now. Wear a mask. And she gets mad. I just saw you on Facebook in a crowded area with no mask, and I know you're not vaccinated. Like, come on. Why? Just why? Stop being stupid. Even if you don't get it, what about the other people who could die from it that you are exposing? Stop it. Absolutely ridiculous.
I mean, I legit have issues with my middle brother, so older than me, younger than the oldest, because he doesn't want to get a vaccine. That's fine. I think he's stupid for doing it, but we've made our peace about that. He also doesn't wear his mask, ever. My parents also don't wear their masks, ever, because they think because they're vaccinated that they don't have to wear it.
I can't stand it. I can't stand it.
So my mom and her boyfriend and his family are all unvaxxed and don't like to wear their masks. They don't have to. And what I find interesting is my dad and my stepmom, they're both vaxxed and they wear their masks. And not to bring politics into this, but both my mom and her boyfriend and them Trump supporters, and my dad and my stepmom were Trump supporters. And I always attribute Trump supporters with anti-vaxxers and anti-maskers, but my parents have proven me wrong. Or my dad has, anyway.
I was legit going to make the same point, actually, Timeless. My parent, my middle brother, all Trump supporters. My parents got the vaccine because they want to travel. And they know they're going to be expected to be vaccinated if they want to travel. That is the only reason they got the vaccine. But they don't wear masks. My brother doesn't wear masks. Not shockingly. All of them are Trump.
What are they going to do when they require a mask on the airplane and kick people off for not wearing their mask?
My parents will wear a mask if they're required.
Okay,
They won't
that's
like
fair.
it. They
See,
won't
I
like
don't
it,
understand
but
the issue with masks because honestly, I like them because then I like it just makes my eyes pop with my makeup. I'm just saying. Like,
You get like a mask that also makes your eyes pop, like specifically designed to do that.
genuinely, I don't see the issue with masks.
I
I don't-
literally wore a mask just so I didn't get recognized in the grocery store.
I don't think it bothers me. It doesn't. Okay, here's my biggest thing when people are like, "Oh, it hurts their O2." No, it doesn't. Stop it. Doctors wear masks in the OR for 12 hours, 16 hours. Are they dead? Are they brain dead? Did they die? No? Cool. Stop it.
Like, okay, this is probably a bad example, but if you look at episodes of MASH, like the old Korean War drama thing, they legit have masks on, and they talk about the fact that they're in surgery for 2 and 3 days at a time, and they're always wearing their mask. Like,
Yeah.
I
That was
got
my-
one.
That's my
So-
favorite argument. Favorite. And literally girls with like asthma, I remember her TikToks. She has severe asthma, put masks on for hours with an O2 monitor and even ran around the room. It was like, my O2 has never dipped. Like, you're dumb.
Yeah.
Stop.
I honestly don't understand the argument. It's like, it does not change your O2.
Doctors have even recommended masks for people with asthma.
Yeah. I have severe asthma, do not have a problem. I had one problem, but I was fast walking to keep up with my mom, and it was an actual asthma attack. And I still kept my mask on. Like, come on.
Now, granted, I probably should be wearing. I have a couple of KN95s my oldest brother gave me. I like my cloth mask because they're more comfortable, but I do recognize that I should probably be wearing my KN95.
They block out more. They block out more.
I know they do.
Yeah, I have cloth mask, and if I wear them, it's over a surgical mask, like, because they're not as good as 95s, but I wear them over my surgical masks.
The KN95s just aren't as comfortable to me, and that's why
Yeah,
I
they're hit or miss, really, for me. But
that's why I just like I do like my cloth. Oh my god, don't. Oh, those ones are even worse.
or the mesh
People-
ones, you fucking
No!
idiots.
Right? Like mesh isn't gonna do
Like,
anything.
I understand if you want to try and get a drink. You know the easiest way to do that? You stick your straw underneath.
Yep.
Yeah. What's the other argument? Mask doesn't block COVID. You're right, it doesn't. But COVID travels on water droplets, which the masks block from and protect. So, good job.
Legit, if
Again, it reduces the chance of spreading it.
Yep.
if you have a mask properly on your face, so nose and mouth covered, and it's over your chin, and you sneeze, you don't feel the water droplets come out.
Exactly.
Well, check this out.
Talk-
My neighbor Chelsea, she her uncle was 85 years old. I don't know if he was a Trump supporter or not, but was very into conspiracy theories and did not believe that COVID was real, did not believe in wearing a mask. Mind you, this man is 85. Fine, whatever. His doctor, without doing everything but forcing him to take the vaccine, tried to get him to take the vaccine. He didn't take it. Caught COVID. Was on a ventilator for a week, I think. And unfortunately has passed away due to COVID. And now his wife is also on a ventilator because of COVID. And since he didn't get vaccinated, she didn't get vaccinated. So,
Yeah, and the hardest argument people are using is, well, I had COVID and I'm fine. Cool. It doesn't affect everybody the same way. Just like if I got the flu, I might not have it as bad as Timeless may have the flu. It affects people differently. So saying, oh, there's a 98 survival rate, shut the fuck up. It still causes
Yeah, that might be
long-term.
for you.
Exactly. It can cause
Number
long-term issues in people. People have long haul COVID, have lung damage, and there's people who had a sniffle. It affects everyone differently.
The thing
Like-
is, even those people that have the sniffles, they still have the long-term lung damage.
Yep.
They still have the long-term damage to their body from COVID.
Yep.
it's just ridiculous. And then trying to gear ourselves back on topic. Literally, Governor
That's technically
Cuomo.
on topic.
Well, on the topic of population control, with like using COVID, the elderly are a big problem in our society right now, and the main reason is because the boomer generation is fucking huge, and because people live longer nowadays due to healthcare, our Medicare system is drowning in debt. So the conspiracy is that I think Cuomo put the COVID patients in the nursing homes to kind of
Thin out the
control
herd.
that bit. Yeah.
It's terrible. It really is. It's awful. And that's what I've heard a lot of conspiracy theorists say, like, COVID affects the older people 55 and over more, and that's what it was made to do because they're not going to be a use to our society pretty soon, and that's what they were trying to thin out.
Mm-hmm.
Which is not true. It obviously affects younger people. This Delta variant affected so many kids when we thought prior that it didn't affect kids like that as much. So that theory is bullshit. But
There were like,
Believe it.
last year, there were like 15-year-olds dropping dead, living on ventilators for a week. Does nobody else remember that?
yeah, people are
Like
just
captain of the
insane.
football team type shit?
Yeah.
Perfectly healthy kids dropping
Mm-hmm.
dead.
Yep. All right, y'all. I think we can call it.
All right.
We've been live for about 5 hours.
Yep.
Yeah.
So next month it is Mental Health Awareness Month. So we'll
I
be
know
having
there was we were talking about August 10th, but is it possible for us to push it back by a week?
When is
Or
it
do it
Yes.
the day
today?
before?
We had talked about doing it on October 10th because that is
Mental Health Awareness
Mental
Day,
Health
isn't it?
Awareness Day. It's also my birthday, and I thought, oh, cool, we'll do the podcast on my birthday, which is also Mental Health Awareness Day. But I am more than happy to change it because I have now promised Brian my time on my birthday.
They're gonna have
Well, 'cause
sex.
we're also my parents.
She's
My dad
blushing.
showed me a. She is
Wait,
blushing.
I made Timeless blush. Look how red she is.
Hey, clip
She's
it!
not
Clip it
denying
quick!
it. She's not denying it.
Look at it!
Oh, look at how red.
He's not even watching anymore either.
Look at how red her face is getting.
I know.
Somebody clip that shit.
It's not hard to do, to be honest.
Well,
Um,
I'm just saying my birthday is November 6th and it is on a Saturday, and I would be down for a paranormal episode if you need a special guest, but, I'm just throwing that out to the universe.
the reason I was saying is because my parents and I are going to a Hocus Pocus reenactment.
What?
Or it's not a reenactment. It is a, let me pull up the ticket. It is a, where is it? It is a, shit, can't find the thing. But it's basically like acts are gonna be in front. If it's anything like the Shadowcast that I know of, actors, it's gonna be actors acting in front of the screen.
That
And
could be fun though. I've been to Rocky Horror, things like that.
what? Here it is. It is a Hocus Pocus Live, featuring Tampa Bay Sanderson sisters Catherine Nevitz, Daphne Ferraro, and Chi-Chi LaKey.
Nice.
We have there's some good-looking drag queens too, though.
Oh, they're
Very
drag
nice.
queens. That's awesome. So you're wanting to do it the weekend before the 10th?
We could either do it the weekend before the 10th. We could do it the Saturday before, or the 9th.
Can't.
Um,
I'm hanging out with Maddie on the 9th. so I can't do the 9th.
We have movie night the Sunday before, right?
It's the third.
We
Is
should.
it? Okay.
I don't know what movie we're watching.
Which I have to actually get the
What about the
calendar.
10th?
The 10th. That's the day that Hocus Pocus is.
Oh,
the Hocus
10th.
Pocus thing
Okay.
is.
I really don't want to do it next week.
there's a
I don't know
So
if
we
I'm
could
ready
do
for
it
next
the
week.
weekend after the 10th.
Yeah, so the 17th.
Give us
Yeah,
some more
that's-
time.
that
Yeah,
would
that'll
be
give
our-
us time to tell Toothless when we're doing it.
Yeah, let's do the
Well,
17th.
because we also have we have movie night this weekend, which I actually make the calendar for anyway. There is a D&D campaign that I came across that I want to buy that looks fantastic for Halloween.
Do it.
Yeah, let's aim for the 17th for mental health.
So, mental health 17th. Sometime in November for paranormal stuff. Sounds like Boople Bunny is interested in being a guest again for that. I also want to ask Maddie if she would
Okay.
like to be a guest because she's got stories
Okay.
and also heavily believes in all of it. So,
I can probably get stories from my dad.
well, she believes in the
'Cause
ghost.
my dad did some stupid shit as a kid that
Oh my
probably
God.
got him some ghosts.
I would like to do it after the 6th because Data will be here and he's a skeptic and I would love to have him on.
But I mean,
We just
Or
have a
me-
guest-filled episode.
Yeah, I can tell you right
Data,
now,
Maddie, Boople.
I'm not motherfucking making an overlay for that one. I'm just gonna put this all on Discord onto the channel because I'm not fucking making an overlay for that. Fuck that.
it's that
But yeah, so I think that's gonna be our lineup. I'm
not
excited
making
for
it
next
really
month.
for-
I am gonna say that next month is gonna be a really heavy topic episode.
Oh.
So just
Yep.
pre-warn, very heavy.
We will be live
It
streaming.
is
It will be live. We will be. I feel like the next couple are gonna be live anyway because it's all stuff that people love to talk about.
what
we-
was it that you weren't gonna make an overlay for?
The paranormal one because there's gonna be so many of us.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Timeless and Maddie could be in the same room.
That is true, assuming
And-
she doesn't catch COVID from her students.
And me and
True.
Data will be in the same room as well.
And
Yeah,
So we won't have
So,
as many
see.
people.
we'll see. Once we get a
everyone
final
possible.
count, I will see if I feel like doing one. What was I gonna say? I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh, next month. There will be absolutely no toleration. I don't expect it, but I'm just telling you. There will be no tolerating anyone saying anything bad about anything mental health, whether you believe in it or not. There will be people talking about their real life issues that they struggle with every day, including myself and Penny, and I'm sure Timeless and Arc. So if we see anything that we don't like that is inappropriate, whether you meant it that way or not, you will be banned. Okay, great. Good talk. All right, ladies.
Okay, we're officially
and
at
gremlins.
5
Ladies and
hours.
gremlins. We out.
Good night.
Boople, thanks for hanging out. Unfortunately, Data had a really bad headache and couldn't make it back. But Boople, thanks for hanging
boy.
out. Next month, what did we decide? The 17th?
The 17th.
17th, mental health with Penny and whoever else comes in. And what am I supposed to do now? Go to bed!
go to bed, Jay.
I know. I haven't talked to Psyche about it, but I can always be like, hey, if you want to come hang out in the podcast, you're more than welcome to, and give your opinion as a therapist.
Yeah.
Aliens are running through my mind.
And yeah, we will see you guys next month. We love your faces. All right, say bye.
Bye.
Bye.